are all prepared, all eyes on you, all ears on you, that's the time you can start with a review. Reviewing every meeting is very important because it will remind the student that they are not allowed to forget what they learned last time. And during the review, you will know if the students are really ready to have your new lesson. Because if you found out that, oh, the students didn't really remember their last lesson, if we move on to the next, it will be harder for them because they didn't understand the 5 words you taught last time, and you will add another 5 words today. So in summary, there will be 10 words that they don't really understand. So I think review is very important because you will know if the student really understood what you taught last time. So even if it will took you 30 minutes to review them, you may do so in order for you to make sure that the student really understood the lesson that you taught last time. In the review part, what I usually do here is I have here sight words. You can do it for class 4 and above. I have here sight words and I will ask them to get something. In the first time, of course, they are really confused. But when I do it every time, when I show it to them, I don't need to talk that much. They know that they need to get one and use this with the words that they learned last week. So for the first time, I just ask them to get 1. And for example, the word is 2 plus the word they learned last week. They need to form a meaningful sentence. And when the days go by, you can use 2. Pick 2 and then make your own sentence using the words that you learned last time. With that, you can analyze or evaluate if the student really learned what you taught last week. So if you think that they are ready for the next lesson, you may proceed with the next one. Because again, if they are not ready yet for the next lesson, you will just add more words that will make them confused. That's it. And then, engage. Here, in engage part, you are not teaching anything new yet. Again, you are just getting the attention of the student. For example, these are the book we are using. I think this is in Discover book. You can just show to the student the picture and then let them guess what's the word and how to pronounce the words, something like that. So that of course, there will be student, I'm not 100% sure, but most of the classes, there will be 1 student or 2 that they already know what are this. So you have to give them the chance and let them guess what's this so that they will get you can get their attention. Or after that, you can also use this one. So let them guess. For example, you will say club, like that. You will just, all you do is to emphasize the first letter sound in order to be easier for them to guess which word you are describing. So with that, they will feel like they are belong to the lesson. So you can get their attention by, oh my God, because they will be confused, what's that? Something like that. So if you don't like it, you can use other pictures, and using GIF or moving pictures are really, I think it's more effective because you can get the attention of the student. Because if you use the same pictures as what they have in the books, like they will be bored and it can lose their attention. Because if you, for example, I don't know, but kids here find it funny when they see something moving on the board. I don't know, I think it's new for them, I'm not sure with that, but I found out that they are really interested with the moving pictures. Okay? So for example, like that. So of course, the student knows what is this man doing in their language. So they already have the idea. So they will start to think, you can hear them say it in their own language, what they're doing. So in that case, you just show them the picture, it will build up a question to their mind. My God, what's that? What's that? In their own language. So we will like flip it up. Like before, you will say the the English word, and they will find what is the Vietnamese word. But if you do this, they know the Vietnamese word for it, and they will ask themselves, what's this, other person, their classmates, like that. And then you will give them the answer. And it will instill to them longer because they found out the answer to their question. So this one can be your engaged part. Now that you got the attention of your students and you got their interest, it's the time that you will explore. Not you, but the student. Let the students explore the words that you want to teach them today. So here in explore, you can now give the correct pronunciation, correct spelling, and you can identify the correct pictures, correct actions, whichever activity you'd like to do in the explore part. Let's say, for example, we have here, what I usually do is this. First one is we have an available audio, so you will just play it. But if you want to say it by yourself, it's okay. But during this first part, I don't want anyone to talk at the same time as I talk. Or I don't want anyone to talk if the audio is playing. Because if you allow the student to talk at the same time with you for the first time here, they will not be able to identify which is which. Maybe their classmate is wrong and their seatmate is wrong, so they will be confused which is correct or not. So during the first one, you have to make sure that all students are listening and they will not talk at the same time when you play the audio. And then after that, repeat it. Just say the word and they will repeat it. Say the word and they will repeat it. And then the last part of the explore is this. Let the student say the words, but you have to make sure that they will say it first as a class. And then keep on repeating. If you think that half of them are able to say it correctly, something like that, you can now let them say it by group. Let's say, for example, red, all of them red, and then by group, all of the people here, something like that. And then after that, you can do it individually. But calling individually, you have to identify, of course, as I told you earlier, you need to identify who is the fast learner and the slow learner. So if you want to call individually, you have to call first the most confident student. We have here, we can divide our class into three, right? The fast learners, the slow learners, and just the average one. Make sure to call the fast learner first. Why? In order for you to give time for the slow learner to hear what's the correct pronunciation. For example, you have 10 students, 2 of them are fast learner. You said the correct pronunciation, the 2 of them said the correct pronunciation. The average student say the correct pronunciation. So the 5 slow learners have a higher chance to say it correctly. So it is really very important to know which of the students are slow and fast. Okay? And then after the explore part, and when you check it individually, they can pronounce it individually correctly. So that's cool. And then next, so again, this is the example. You can just play the audio and then as a class, read all. You will not discuss anything yet. Just let the student be familiar with the correct pronunciation and the correct spelling of the words. And when you want the student to remember the spelling of the words, you have to follow this. For example, you have to say dance. You have to let them say the word first, dance, and then D-A-N-C-E, and then you have to let them say the word again, dance. If you do that, it will it will be easier for you to ask them questions later on. Now that they are familiar with the correct pronunciation, spelling, and all, you can now explain each word word to your students. So in explaining part, you can use matching pictures and words. You can use that. You can also use have to differentiate each word and define each word during your explain part. Let's say, for example, this is the word. For example, the word is red. You have to identify or to make sure that the student knows what it is and what it isn't. So that later on during your speaking test, they really know what you are asking, not just guessing or memorizing what the picture is all about. So they need to know what it is and what it isn't. For example, you want to teach the word red. So simply ask, is this red? Yes. Is this red? No. So with that, you can evaluate if the student knows the color red. And of course, you can also identify if they know which is yellow and which is not. Another example is here. Explaining the word, you can use lots of pictures. Because again, if you will stick on the pictures that you can find on the book, it will be hard for them to identify it if you use other pictures. So when you discuss the word, you can use different pictures for them to understand it better, what run is. Because they tend to just memorize what it is. For example, in our foundation book, we have this picture of run and running. So if they will just know it, if you show this picture in the speaking test, they will be confused what this cartoon is doing. So it's important that you insert the pictures during your lesson and the pictures that you will use during your speaking test. And then, just it, to identify that this one is apple and the green one is also apple. So using two or more pictures is really better. And then last